So, my fellow explorer of the universe, are you ready to continue our journey? But first, we need to explore our own solar system. But to do so, we need the OK of Major Tom to take off the ground.
This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade. And the papers want to know whose shirts you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control.
So our first stop is the sun, because without the sun we can be on this planet, and the sun is really just a ball of gas that is burning. To give you an idea, it's 400,000 tons of hydrogen that is burning per second for the nuclear reaction. The sun is composed as the Earth. It got a core at its center, and then the hydrogen around it. The sun, why the sun is important and why we study the sun is because you have flares like an explosion that go out of the sun, and those flares for the scientists now, they can really be a threat for life on Earth, because they can burn really far away, and they can do magnetic things with the Earth that can change our environment. So the first planet of our system is Mercury. Mercury is a small planet, really near the sun, and because of that it's really hot. For an example, it's 425 degrees during the days, and it's minus 175 degrees during night. Why it's so different? It's because it's only made with rocks, mostly iron. The core of the planet is mostly iron, and this is why they are taking that much of temperature. To give you an example of what is life on Mercury, to make a full rotation around the sun, Mercury take 88 days. We take 365, and 1 day on Mercury, so the revolution on itself, take 58 days of our days. That is 24 hours for us. So it's revolving really fast, but it's revolving on itself really slow. So you're gonna age really less fast on Mercury, but you can be on Mercury because there's no gravity and there's no moon. So the surface of the planet, you can jump, and it's like 20% of our gravity. So if you jump 20%, you go 80% way longer if you jump on Mercury, and you can even take off the planet with your own capacities. So our second planet is Venus. Venus is really not a cool place to be, because there's a lot of carbon dioxide that makes you can't breathe. It's impossible. You have thunderstorms, you have volcanoes, and there's a lot of gravity. For example, if you weight 100 pounds on Earth, well, you weight 920 pounds on Venus. It's really heavy, you can move. And the planet is really special because for make the revolution around the sun, it takes 243 days, but for a revolution on itself, it takes like 7 days more than the revolution around the sun. So it's long. The day and night are longer to pass than a full season, a full year around the sun. It's really weird. It's really weird for us, but that's that. Our third planet is Earth. You're supposed to know that planet because you live on. There's supposed to be an intelligent species, but we're not sure about that. I will know no longer pass time on planet. You know, a day is 24 hours, and a revolution here is 365 days, more or less. So our fourth planet is Mars. Mars is a really interesting planet for humanity because it's almost the same size as Earth. Scientists have found a trace of water on it, so we can drink. It's good. The day is 24 hours and 17 minutes, so almost the same day as we have. The only difference is the revolution around the sun is twice as long as Earth. So for 1 year on Earth, you have for 2 years on Earth, you have 1 year on Mars. So it's a little complicated for calculation. But the most problem we have with Mars is there are no atmosphere, so you can breathe on it. But scientists have some option. We will talk about it next week with Elon Musk. So between the inner planets and the outer planets, we got the asteroid belt. What is the asteroid belt? It's just some asteroids, some rocks that floating in the air, in the space, not in the air. And it's from there that we got asteroids and comets sometimes that we can look in the sky during night. I will talk about it a little later, but it's really a circle all around the sun, so it's like a barrier between those two spaces. So the next planet is Jupiter. Jupiter is not a solid planet, it's a gas planet, so you can pass through with a ship. You can do that because it's gas, so you're gonna have some problems. But there's no solid core in the center. It's really the biggest planet of all. For information, she is twice as big as all the other planets together. So it's really a massive planet. The revolution on itself, Jupiter is really quick because it's only take her 10 hours to make a revolution, but it takes 12 years to make a full round around the sun. So it's really slow because it's far, you know. Jupiter in itself is not that much interesting, but she have 79 moons. We only have one. She have 79 moons. And one of them, it's named Europa. It's really interesting because scientists with satellites have found some water, a lot of water, in fact more water than on Earth in the core of Europa, the moon of Jupiter. So if we know on Earth that water means life, maybe it means that Europa have a potential for humanity. For now it's only frozen at large, but we don't know, maybe it had life or it will have life if we get there someday, I don't know. So our next planet is Saturn. Saturn don't have a core, just like Jupiter is a gas planet of methane mostly. Saturn is interesting because just as Jupiter, it takes 10 hours to make a revolution on itself, but it takes 30 years to make a round one lap around the sun. So from the day I was born, since today, mostly, Saturn only make one full lap around the sun. It's really slow, but once more it's because it's really far away from the sun. What is interesting with Saturn too, it's the rings, because the rings around Saturn, you can see them from here, from Earth, with a telescope. The rings are made from ice, so solid water, and they can be as thick as a pea, and they can be as large as a large boulder, so it's quite large, and they are circling around the planet, but they are not large in height. They are really, really small if you compare it with the size of the rings. So really interesting, really intriguing, but once more it's like that. We need to read more if you want to know why. So our next planet is Uranus. Uranus is really interesting because it's not a gas planet anymore. You have a really hard core of rocks, and scientists have found some trace of water on it. Yes, in ice form, but still water. Uranus have some really intriguing features, like the four rings that you can see. In fact, you can see Uranus with your own naked eyes in the sky. It's the first planet you need a telescope to see. And Uranus is really tilt on the side, so it's not rotating on itself like that, but more like that. That make the season go way faster and way weirder than we have on Earth. For the same information as the other planet, it takes 83 years to make a full lap around the sun, so we're all gonna be dead before it finish one run. And the temperature is minus 140 degrees Celsius. It's really cold. And for make a revolution on itself, it takes around 18 hours. Our last planet is Neptune, and Neptune is really interesting because the core is made of solid rock. You have some rings, just like Saturn, but you can't see them because they are really thin. On the planet, you can see black dots. They are in fact thunderstorms. They are really big thunderstorms because they are as big as Canada, so it's quite big. Neptune have an interesting things. She have 14 moons, 14 satellites, but one of them is rotating counterclockwise of the planet, so it's really special. To make a full lap around the sun, it takes 183 years to the planet to make a round, so it's really long. So there's a few objects I need to present you before we finish this video. First are the dwarf planets. The dwarf planet, you know, is Pluto. Pluto is a really small planet. It was a planet, it's not a planet anymore, because we found some other dwarf planet and we put them together. Pluto have been discovered by not by scientists, but by a guy who built his own telescope in Kansas. He really enjoyed it, so he discovered. Now we know that there's 12 dwarf planets, more or less, in the Kuiper belt. The Kuiper belt is just like the asteroid belt I've presented you, but it's more larger and far away from the sun. So we have a really more powerful telescope now. We have the Hubble telescope in space. We can see really far away in space now. So we know now that the Kuiper belt doesn't end our solar system. You have a cloud of rocks and other space things just floating around, and it's called the Oort. I don't know. I think it's a German name. The Oort cloud that is surrounding all our solar system. After that, we are going in the Milky Way. The Milky Way is our galaxy. Just like that, you can see it in the sky during night. You don't see all the galaxy because we are in it, but when you see an arm like that, it's because the galaxy is circling around itself, and one of the arms are well shown in the sky during night. You can try it this summer to see it. You can from here. It's a possibility, I assure you. So just like our Milky Way galaxy, there's many galaxies in the universe. There's many shapes for them, but we don't know all of them for now because our knowledge is in constant evolution. So the galaxy, you know, it's a Big Bang theory, the first original blast, and the universe is expanding. So we're gonna have to explore all of this. You have seen in many movies like Guardian de la Galaxie and Guardian of the Galaxy, I mean in an English class. I will try to make a video about a movie in space because I found it funny. So we have many galaxies, and we are discovering not every day, but we discover many of them each year because our technological powers expand our possibilities. So this is it for our solar system. Next week I'm gonna look for the colonization of Mars with Elon Musk and SpaceX.